So I'm the kind of person who is, at heart pretty risk adverse. Growing up, I was somebody who was overly responsible, who would take criticism to heart, and who would, try really hard to get A's at school, because that was my jam. And, I went through most of my adult life continuing in that same vein, trying to avoid getting hurt, trying to avoid making mistakes. And all of that changed almost exactly a year ago, actually. For around the beginning of August last year, I was actually in New York City visiting with the Moth, who had all of the producers from all the StorySLAMs around the world over for a summit. And so I spent 3 days packed in a room with all these wonderful people who help produce StorySLAMs like this all around America and Australia and London. That's the other one that's international. And you know what it's like when you're traveling and, you kind of feed off that energy of other people and you start to feel like, maybe this is a time to reinvent myself. And actually, I lie a little. Before I started traveling, I had started a Pinterest board with ideas for tattoos. Because I liked the idea of a tattoo, but I thought I will never be able to get one because I am too afraid of it hurting. And, the first signal that maybe something was starting to shift was when we were having drinks after one of our sessions with the producers, and I just happened to say, I've had this idea about getting a tattoo while I'm here, like that would be a great souvenir. And, of course, everybody else egged me on. And they were just like, yep, that's great. Oh, yes, you should definitely do that. And another person who was a New York local helpfully said, I know a great place in the Lower East Side, which was about 6 blocks from where we were. And, my heart sort of sprung up into my mouth, and I thought, am I really ready to do this? And I thought, just go with it, Merrilee, like you're traveling. You can be whoever you want to be. And so we trekked up the street. There was a big group of us who were like, Merrilee's going to find out about getting a tattoo. All right, come with me. And so there's this group of us who, trekked the 6 blocks up to Three Kings Tattoo, the Lower East Side. And we walked in, and, I was full of that, energy of, ooh, what's going to happen? And I went in, and I was like, I've got this idea. And, I showed the artist, and she quickly sketched, and she was like, I could do it now. And I just felt like my stomach dropped, and I was just like, no, I think we're going for dinner, aren't we? We're gonna, I can't do it today, and sort of backpedaled out of that, and walked away thinking, is that really who you want to be? You're a grown-ass woman. Get your shit together. And so the next day, we got into the summit and, everyone was checking in. Merrilee, how'd you go yesterday? Did you get that? And I was like, no, I obviously didn't get the tattoo. And it sort of started again, this loop of energy from everyone. And suddenly there were 2 other producers going, I'll get a tattoo with you. And I was like, okay, I guess it's happening. 5 o'clock comes and they're like, yep, we're going to go up there, get the tattoos, and we'll go out for dinner. And I panicked again. But we got up to the place, and the woman who I'd talked to the day before wasn't there, and so I just sort of thought, well, that's it. Obviously, I can't get one now. Because the guy who was on walk-ins that day was this, one of those classic tattoo dudes, with a cap and full sleeves, and I was like, he's clearly not my vibe. But, something happened when I started talking to him and showed him the design idea I had, and he drew it up, and then suddenly it was on that paper, I can't remember what it's called, the tattoo paper, and suddenly I went and got cash to pay him, and, my friend Chloe was like, yep, I'm going to get one after you, and the next thing I know, I'm, sitting in this chair with my arm out and thinking, who the hell is this? Who am I? And I got so panicky beforehand, which is my way. I did the same thing when I got my wisdom teeth out, just hyperventilated beforehand, and then I was fine once it started. And I was getting so jittery that he made me lie down because he was worried I was going to faint. And as I'm lying there, Chloe from the Moth is holding my hand, and she's just sort of stroking me and talking to me, and I'm like chattering away, and then suddenly the moment comes, I've got my arm out, and he's like, okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, and I feel the first touch of the needle on my arm, and I exclaim in probably what was a very loud voice, "Oh, is that it?" And it was such a small moment. It's my teacup, which is my present to myself, because this today reminds me that I am brave and I can be brave. I can choose it, and it took a team to get me there, but I got there, and within 2 months, there's the teapot. I've got another one here, then I got this one. So, you can do it. Because I never ever thought I would have the guts to get any tattoos, and it wasn't so bad, and it really made me realize how all these stories we hold so tightly in our hearts as being true about ourselves, maybe they're not true, and maybe you can just kick them to the curb and do whatever the fuck you want to. Thanks.